Okay, so you know how much I love digging into the nitty-gritty of stuff, right? And sometimes that means, well, reading the stuff most people just scroll right
The
past.
fine print. Those terms and conditions nobody actually reads?
Exactly. But here's the thing. Those legal documents, they can be surprisingly revealing. It's like a peek behind the curtain of how companies think.
I'm intrigued. What are we peeking behind today?
Today's deep dive takes us into the heart of Amazon.nl, specifically their conditions of use and sale. They just updated these on September 9th, 2024. And well, let's just say there are some interesting tidbits that every Amazon.nl shopper should know about.
Oh, I always wonder about that stuff. It's like clicking agree without really knowing what you're agreeing to.
Right. It's like signing a contract in a foreign language. But don't worry, we're here to translate. And the first thing that jumped out at me was, well, it seems Amazon.nl sees us, their customers, as a potential goldmine of creative content.
You mean like product reviews?
That, but it goes even further. Check out the section on reviews, comments, communications, and other content. Amazon.nl claims some pretty broad rights to anything we post on their site.
Wait, really? So that funny review I wrote about a cat toy, they own that.
You got it. And those product photos you shared, those perfectly lit shots of your new coffee maker? Yep, all fair game. The document actually uses the phrase non-exclusive, royalty-free, and fully sublicensable rights.
Okay, time for a jargon breakdown. What does that even mean for the average person?
So let's say you post an amazing photo of, I don't know, a sunset you captured with your new camera, right? Amazon.nl could essentially use that photo in their marketing, on their website, even in a printed brochure, and they wouldn't have to pay you a single cent. And get this, they could even let other people use it too.
That's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it.
Right. It really makes you think twice about what you post online.
Definitely makes you wonder.
Yep. And speaking of things that make you wonder, let's talk about everyone's favorite, one-click ordering. Talk about convenient, but is there a downside? Because you know what they say, there's no such thing as a free lunch.
Well, in this case, maybe the convenience comes with a hidden price tag. You see, the document strongly advises against using one-click ordering on shared computers.
They're basically saying their system might have security flaws.
It's like leaving your wallet unlocked in a busy marketplace. Sure, it's easier to get to your cash, but also easier for someone else to grab it.
Good point. So for anyone sharing a computer family, roommates, that suspicious internet cafe, maybe think twice before you enable one-click ordering. You might end up paying for someone else's impulse buys.
Now that's a scary thought.
Speaking of scary thoughts, let's talk returns. We all know about the 14-day return policy, but digging deeper, it seems we might actually have even more rights than we realize.
Right. There's a difference between the statutory right to cancel and Amazon.nl's own voluntary 30-day return guarantee.
Hold on, two different things. Okay, break it down for us. Why should we care?
Think of the statutory rightos, like the basic guarantee, backed by law. It applies to almost all sellers and basically says you've got 14 days to change your mind about a purchase for pretty much any reason.
Okay, that makes sense. But I'm guessing there are some exceptions.
Of course, there are always exceptions. Like, you usually can't return personalized items. Think custom-made t-shirts or engraved jewelry or unsealed hygiene products or anything perishable, for obvious reasons, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. So where does this voluntary 30-day guarantee fit in?
That's Amazon.nl going above and beyond the legal minimum, giving us a little extra peace of mind. It's their own policy, though, so they get to set the terms.
So more flexibility, but maybe a few more conditions.
Precisely. But overall, it means more options for us as consumers. Even if you miss that initial 2-week window, you might still have a chance to return something. It's like having a safety net for your shopping cart.
Love a good safety net. But speaking of safety nets, I stumbled on something else in this document that I wasn't expecting. It seems that sometimes when we're shopping on Amazon.nl, we're not actually buying from Amazon.nl directly.
Ah, yes, the world of third-party sellers.
Yeah.
It's something a lot of people don't realize, but it can make a big difference in your shopping experience.
Okay, I'm definitely sensing a but coming.
Well, buying from a third-party seller is kind of like stepping off the main road and onto a side street. You might find some hidden gems, but you also need to be a little more careful and aware of your surroundings.
Okay, this is definitely something we need to unpack further. But for now, let's take a quick pause. Grab yourselves a drink, stretch your legs, because when we get back, we're diving even deeper into the world of third-party sellers on Amazon.nl. All right, ready to dive back in. I'm itching to know more about these third-party sellers. I mean, it's all happening on Amazon.nl, right? So does it really matter who's actually sending me the package?
Oh, it can make a world of difference, trust me, especially when it comes to returns, warranties, you know, all the things we hope we won't need but always end up needing.
Okay, I'm starting to get a little nervous now.
Don't worry, knowledge is power. Think of it this way. When you buy from a third-party seller on Amazon.nl, it's kind of like making a deal at a flea market.
Okay, I'm following.
You see a cool vintage lamp, you haggle with the seller, and you agree on a price.
Right, but at a flea market, there's no Amazon.nl to back me up if something goes wrong.
And that's the key difference. On Amazon.nl, you do have that extra layer of protection with the A to Z guarantee. But, and this is important, it's still good to be aware of the potential differences.
So walk me through it. What kind of differences are we talking about?
Well, for starters, that 30-day return guarantee we talked about earlier, it might not always apply with third-party sellers.
You're kidding. I thought that was like an Amazon.nl thing.
It is, but it's mainly for items sold directly by Amazon.nl. Third-party sellers, they often have their own return policies.
So it's like taking a gamble every time I click buy now from a third-party seller.
Not exactly a gamble, but definitely a good idea to do a little research first.
Okay, I'm all ears. What's the best way to research a third-party seller?
Well, before you hit that buy button, take a quick peek at the seller's details. Look for their rating. Obviously, higher is always better. And don't forget to scroll through the reviews from other shoppers. You know, those little gold nuggets of wisdom.
I live for a good Amazon review. What am I looking for specifically?
See if anyone mentions the seller's responsiveness, how they handle returns, stuff like that.
So it's like checking someone's references before you hire them.
Exactly. A few minutes of research can save you a whole lot of hassle down the line.
You know, it's amazing how something as boring as a legal document led us to this treasure trove of tips and tricks.
I told you it was worth the read.
Oh, absolutely. Now, speaking of things I found buried in this document, there's this part about third-party sellers who aren't actually businesses, like just regular people selling their stuff. It says our usual consumer rights might not apply in those cases. Is that even legal?
It is, but it can be a bit of a gray area. We often forget that not everyone selling on Amazon.nl is a mega corporation. You might be dealing with someone who's just selling a few old books from their attic, for example.
So, hypothetically speaking, if I bought, let's say, a vintage record player from someone's personal collection, I might not have the same rights as if I bought a brand new one from Amazon.nl directly.
You got it. It all comes down to the nuances of consumer protection law. Individuals selling personal belongings aren't always held to the same standards as registered businesses.
But wait, doesn't the A to Z guarantees still apply?
Absolutely. That's where Amazon.nl steps in to bridge the gap. Even if your statutory rights aren't crystal clear, the A to Z guarantee acts as a safety net.
Okay, that makes me feel a bit better.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's like having a guardian angel watching over your online shopping adventures.
I like that. But wow, it's amazing how much goes on behind the scenes of a simple Amazon.nl purchase.
That's the beauty of these deep dives, you know? We peel back the layers and uncover all the fascinating details.
You know, it's funny how we think of these legal documents as like the most boring things ever, but they can actually be pretty eye-opening.
It's true. We usually just click agree without a second thought. But these documents, they're like a window into how these online worlds really work.
It's like they always say, the devil's in the details. Or in this case, the important stuff is in the fine print.
Exactly. And the more you know about these details, the more you can shop smart and protect yourself.
That's what I love about these deep dives, you know? We take something complex, break it down, and suddenly it's not so intimidating anymore.
It's empowering.
Totally. So as we wrap up our deep dive into the Amazon.nl conditions of use and sale, I thought maybe we could leave our listeners with a little challenge.
Oh, I like this. What do you have in mind?
Okay, picture this. You're about to download a new app, right? Maybe it's a game, maybe it's a social media thing, whatever. You're about to hit that I agree button. But this time, before you do,
Yeah, this time.
you take like 5 minutes and you actually read the terms and conditions.
Ooh, daring. I like it.
You might be surprised what you find in there.
Absolutely. Clauses you never expected, rules you didn't even know existed.
It's like a digital scavenger hunt. And who knows, you might even learn something that changes how you use that app or website.
That's the power of being informed. You get to make conscious choices about how you navigate the online world.
Exactly. Well said. And on that note, we'll leave you to your digital explorations. Remember, those terms and conditions, they're not just legal jargon, they're a map to understanding the online world. So until next time, happy reading and stay curious.